Good morning. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second day of Lisbon Law and Tech Conference hosted by Abreu Knowledge Institute. My name is Ricardo Henriques, and I'm a partner of Abreu Advogados and co-head of the Intellectual Property and Information Technologies Department. Yesterday, we had a very interesting discussion on online courts and justice in times of pandemics with Professor Richard Susskind, Justice Maria dos Prazeres Beleza, and our colleague Pedro Barosa, who talked to us about the potential benefits of this proposition in regards to access to justice. Today, I am honored to be hosting and moderating this panel on interfaces between law and design. Design applied to law is, I would say, a hot topic and a new trend. Customers and businesses often are frustrated when confronted with texts in legalese that pave the way to loopholes, confusion, and litigation. In this case, the legal world is seeking help from the design. We will talk about design-driven approach to legal innovation with focus on inventing and building systems that serve the agency of people involved in them. I would like now to introduce today's speakers. Meera Klemola, globally recognized as one of the pioneering voices in human-centered design for legal professionals and legal business. Dubbed by the Legal Forecast as one of the first legal designers and the host of the world's first Legal Design Summit. Meera continues to lead and actively contribute to the discourse on the evolving role of design law. And also, Alexandre Zavaglia, Director of Legal Score and one of the pioneers in the use of artificial intelligence techniques in the area of law and in privacy by design projects in Brazil. Executive Coordinator of the Data Governance Research and AI Regulation Group at CEPI, FGV Direito SP, Chairman of the IASP Law, Innovation and Technology Commission, and member of the Data Protection Commission of the Federal Council of the Brazilian Bar Association, and at the WG to adapt the judiciary to the General Data Protection Law of the National Council of Justice. We will start off with Alexandre. Alex, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. I'm very sad because I'm not in Lisbon. I'm in São Paulo right now. But it's a great pleasure to be here with you, Ricardo, and thanks to Abreu Knowledge Institute for all the organization and the opportunity to collaborate with this great event at its second year. So it's a very important environment to talk about what's really going on in the whole world about law, innovation, and technology. And thanks, Meera. Meera, you know, we admire your job since the first time that you begin with your work in Finland. So it's a great opportunity for us to talk about what we are doing. So I'm gonna share my presentation, and is that okay? So I have an approach about to contextualize what is legal design, because of course Meera is going to tell you much better than me what really is and about the techniques and what are we really using this methodology. So and just to contextualize what's going on in the whole world. So we are looking and learning about, of course, what's happening in Finland, because they are really one of the pioneers in legal design projects in the whole world. And we also looking and going almost every year to London. And we have this event called Legal Design Geek, and I learned a lot there about this visual strategies and what the industry doing. So the last year we have Meera here with us in São Paulo. She spent some days here with us, and it was great to know her better and to learn about what we're doing, what she's doing, and of course in Lisbon, because you're on in the center of all the discussions about artificial intelligence and data protection and all of the discussion of how the influence of this new environment on the legal market. So I think we are trying to understand what's going on in the whole world to use this concept here in Brazil. So for us to understand, we have to know the difference between law and the influence, the daily activities of society, the new business models using different techniques of automation and data science. So there's a difference between the reflex of this new business model and the daily use of technology by the society, and they reflects on the material law in the law, and the opportunities of new jobs, new legal service. And then from the other side, the technology as tools to use automation and data science to improve the legal service. So it's a very important difference between this both scenarios, and it's important for us to understand that, because legal design is just the field. This is a lab in Stanford, of course. It's a very well-known lab called Legal Design Lab, and this image can show us the legal design is where we can integrate, we can merge design, law, and technology. So and of course, design is not just about the visual things that most of the people think. It's about solving problems and complex legal problems. So we have the design of systems, design of organizations, design of service, products, and on the top of that, the design of information, which of course Meera is going to tell us much better than I can do. But so just to contextualize that, I chose to show you some service design and product design, just for you to know the range of opportunities that we have here in Brazil. So I'm writing about that issues for the last 10 years, and almost from 2017, working really with artificial intelligence, because here in Brazil, we have 80 million lawsuits with open data. So we are really doing an R&D deeply job for the last year. So we are now growing our systems about NLP, natural language processing, machine learning, deep learning, and we are really reading millions and millions of documents to helping us to organize the information, the data, and the information to have better decisions. So the technology is not replacing us. It's very different than that, because we have to build it, we have to use, we have to say which data we want and for what. So it's of course new tools, but we still the doctors, we still the professionals that we all the content of these new tools are from us. So that's why we are talking about open data, data-driven, so real-time data to these decision makers, legal design, and all this stuff. So we have, of course, a lot of open contents here on the internet. So if you can search Zavaglia, for example, and Thomson Reuters, you're going to find a lot of ebooks and content. This is the last one about exactly legal design and visual law. And I am now at FGV São Paulo, which is a very important university here in Brazil. coordinating a research group about data governance and artificial intelligence regulation, about bias, ethic issues, and all the things that you're, of course, leading this discussion in the whole world, Europe. So, and at this group, we have also the opportunity to have Joshua Walker, who's one of the speakers about this event and the last day. So Joshua has this book on legal AI that I am the responsible with FGV team for the Brazilian edition. We just finished the translation this week. So we're going to launch the project here in Brazil about March 2021. So it will be in Portuguese for all of you. So Joshua say that how to code the law into the systems, and that's what I'm gonna show to you, because inside those systems we have to know that this is the law. We have to know the ontology, the context, which will be the better argument. So it's built by humans, and of course built by lawyers, by judges and prosecutors. So to use these tools is very different from how people really think that the robot is ready, doing everything, but it's none of that. And I'm going to show you that now we are delivering legal service in platforms. So to do that, we are using these 4 steps that we learned for this last years. Of course, we have a lot of techniques, and Meera will tell you agile, canvas, or a lot of design thinking. But beside of each different methodology, we learned that we have to follow these 4 steps for our projects, because we have to know first where's the data that we need at the first step, and the second step, how can we organize, do the taxonomy, and which kind of tool we're going to use to organize the information. And then at the third step, what we're going to do with that is the design of the solution. So in these first steps, we are here using a lot of artificial intelligence, because here in Brazil, we have this millions, thousands of millions lawsuits. So we have a lot of problem with that. And I'm doing that in my consultancy for the last years. And then at the last step, this UX and visual law. So how can we communicate in a better way with the different persona, exactly for each kind of problem, each kind of situation, and to adapt this information for each kind of person. So this is our framework. How do you do? And so all the projects have one side of data science, one side of legal design, how to merge all that, and the people and this multidisciplinary team, and then this digital transformation and customer experience, because we are delivering the legal services on platforms. So ODRs, online dispute resolution, automation, chatbots, compliance, GDPR. So I'm going to show you 3 cases just because of our time. We have a lot of projects here about using artificial intelligence and how to and about the results that we are having here, expressive results. But now I'm going to just show you this 3 project and how we are using design to build systems. So tech systems for legal service. So the first one is privacy by design. Of course, we know that when we have the data breach or we have a unaware outcome with bias, for an example, the problem is done. So we don't have, we cannot fix it anymore because it's done. So when we are working about data privacy, we have to think how can we prevent the problems. So privacy by design is a technique to do that. So we have this framework about the legal job, working to choose the legal basis for to use the data, and then we use technology to do the data mapping, and I'm going to show to you, and how can we target all this personal data into the systems. So how can we have this evidence for in real time about how and what and if we can use this data and for what, because we have this B2B relationship and most importantly B2C. So the data holder have the right to know how we are processing his data. So and if we don't have this evidence in the system, in those data lakes, we cannot have this answer for these data holders. So how we are doing? So we build this framework here in an integrated systems and a collaborative environment to legal, IT, and compliance, and we are doing that here in Brazil for one of the most innovative companies in the whole world from the United States called ServiceNow. So ServiceNow is one of the leaders in this Gartner Magic Quadrant. So it's a very nice job because we are tropicalizing this tool to Brazil. So we using this concept of privacy by design, so privacy embedded into design, proactive, not reactive, so preventative, not remedial, end-to-end security, visibility and transparency. So what we did, we divided our legislation in 150 different topics, articles and their topics, and make an action plan to each article. What we have to do to be compliant with this article and who have to do that. It's IT, it's compliance, it's the legal in-house, it's the law firm. So we build all the system with that, and then we use these tools to do this mapping, this data mapping, to know where's the data and which is coming from, and then we can build this workflow of action plans and how everyone is integrated and working together in this environment. So and then we can build this assessment matrix, and then the compliance KPIs for the DPOs and also for the board or for the CIO of the company. So the CEO, sorry, want to see that. The DPO want to see that. So that's the final part of the job, is how to communicate with each kind of public. So the second case here is from Thomson Reuters. Thomson Reuters bought this tool called HiQ. This is the world leader for 20 years. So they bought last year, and now we've hired to also make this tropicalization of this tool to Brazil. So they have a lot of big law firms and companies as clients. So what we are doing is how to merge all the all the tools, because we use Word, we use just like Trello, and we use DocuSign. So we use that separately. And what HiQ does is how to use all of these tools inside one only environment. So we can see everybody, what's everybody doing. We have all the security of information. We have collaborative place to to work with that. So we have doing. I cannot show you the inside of this project because we're going to launch here in 1 month. But we are building this tool to Brazil. And the last one, it's about hyper automation. It's another startup here in Brazil called Legal Code. So Gartner is telling us the top strategic technology trends for 2021, and one of them is hyper automations, because now we have the automation of simple tasks, and we are using artificial intelligence for simple tasks, and now we can use it for the whole service. And so how can we mix automation and artificial intelligence? So we have the AI reader, robot process automation, risk assessment, and assemblies, how to build documents using this text. So now, using this technology, we have the framework that the artificial intelligence can read the initial petitions. So we can find the subsidy to the informations to instruct this legal process using RPA. And then we have these assessment metrics that say to us, it's better to have an agreement, it's better to make the contestation of this lawsuit, and help us to build this document using the right jurisprudence and the right value to this agreement, for an example. So this whole job, end-to-end job, now we are reading in Brazil, we are reading some kind of 30,000 lawsuits each monthly basis. So the time to register was 15 minutes, and now we are doing it in 30 seconds. Of course, we are building this tool for the last 3 years with artificial intelligence, because we have to know the context, the ontology, to train the system to know the every features. And now we have the 98% accuracy about this register, because the human being do it almost in 74% of accuracy. So it's much better to have the right data to do the job. And now we have increased the relative number of rejections, because we're doing it for companies, doing to the adequacy of jurisprudence and subsidy in 5 times. So it's been a huge results of this job. So we are using these legal design techniques to improve the legal service as a whole. So for LGPD here and GDPR for you, to have this digital home office, just such as HiQ. And now with this example, we are having this this whole hyper automation tools to help to manage this lawsuits, the massive numbers of lawsuits here in Brazil. But of course, we have lawyers all the time to build that, to use that, because everything is changing every time. So it's not ready, and it's not just a plugin. We have to work on this all the time. And of course, there's only tools, and we need the lawyers to use that. And for last, and of course, Meera is going to tell us much better than me, we are using this visual law techniques here in Brazil too. We've learning from her, and there's a lot of examples here in Brazil and in the whole world. This is from New York, and using comics to tell the how can if you're in a detention, how can you talk with your lawyer. And we have a lot of universities having now this visual law areas, such as Yale, Cornell, and Stanford, and of course in Europe too. And a lot of tools. Here, our prosecutors here in Brazil are using infographics in administrative misconduct actions, showing the corruption step by step, and it's been very nice here. And big law firms such as Tosini Freire, and we have a very, and that's why we founded here the first visual law studio here in Brazil, just doing this visual documents. And so we have a lot of jobs here, contracts, financial reports of the lawsuits. This is a contestation about credit cards for a very big bank here in Brazil. So you see, it's not only to put images and QR codes, and sometimes we just need a better design from the text. So which is the better technique for each project? That's why we have to know. And for contracts, less complex contracts. So we have a few time to discuss all of that, but we are learning is that we have working now with a multidisciplinary team with mathematicians, statistics guys, so designers, journalists, and it's helping us to think in a different way how to solve complex legal problems. And it's been very nice to have the opportunity to work with in these projects and to collaborate here with the discussions and to tell you what is really happened, what we have, and especially that all of that need our job, need our intervention in every step since the beginning of the project, and of course, how to use that and how can we use that. So thank you very much. And I'm sorry for the time, but I'm sure that we're gonna learn much more with Meera.
No problem. Thank you for your interesting presentation. I turn now to Meera to give us her views and her experience on some of the cases she's been working on. Meera, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today, Abreu, and Ricardo, thank you for hosting the panel. And Alex, wonderful kickoff to this session today. Let me just see how this is going. All right. Okay. So I really want to focus today on this concept of legal design. And Alex, you did a fantastic job at really contextualizing that legal design isn't just about making existing legal documents or information look better. It's really about utilizing design as a whole practice along with technology and our legal knowledge to redefine the way we work as lawyers and as a legal profession. So a lot of the time I get this question, like, what is legal design? And I really understand, especially, you know, I have both a law degree and a design degree. So when I'm thinking as a lawyer, I actually think very differently to when I'm thinking as a designer. And as a lawyer, I like definitions because that's what we work with, right? It's how we contextualize everything, if something's right or wrong or in accordance with the law or not. So I understand it's a big question. People say, what is legal design? And there's been quite a lot of academic discussion about this by people like Stefania Passera and Helena Harpio, some people at Stanford. And we've really come to a consensus that it's best not to think of legal design as kind of a fixed definition, but really to embrace the idea that the definition will be in flux, because legal design is more of a lens and an innovation method, a way that we can adopt and new ways of working and thinking, as well as technical skills to really solve big legal problems. So the definition of legal design that we have today should not necessarily be what it is, you know, in a year's time or so, if we're keeping up with how things are evolving in the business and the world. But for today and for the purposes of today, this is the definition that I have put together for legal design today. So it's the deployment of design in the field of law. And we're using design to transform legal work and its systems, develop human-centric products and services, enhance the user experience, as well as develop business strategy. And so when we talk about design, it's more than just visualizing, but we draw on all design disciplines. And I think Alex and I will probably talk a little bit more in the panel discussion about whether legal design is design thinking, and the answer is no, but I think we can touch on that in the panel session. But there is a process or methodology, and here in legal design, we do draw on things like agile and design thinking, and other different design sprint methodologies to run a legal design project. And I've put together some four sort of key milestones here. At the heart of legal design is this mindset of being human-centered. And that's really about understanding the person or people who are going to be using your solution. So if it's, for example, a private practice law firm providing some sort of solution to their external clients, that's their user. Perhaps it's an in-house lawyer who's thinking, how do I better serve my marketing and business teams? Or then it could be within an organization itself, say a law firm thinking, how can we really prepare our senior associates for partnership track? The user always changes, and depending on who the user is, we should, I guess, be tailoring the solutions. So often we start with a bunch of user workshops to figure out what is it that the person who we're creating the solutions for, what do they want, what are their challenges, their motivations, their needs, and going from there, we can start developing a solution. We then have this concept of prototyping, and I like to think of prototyping as a rough draft. So before you send out any legal advice to your client, you probably have a working draft. And a prototype is essentially a working draft, but a little bit more rough because it could go through many, many iterations and updates before we get to the final solution. The third key aspect to legal design is the involvement of the end users. So this would, for example, be this concept of co-innovation. So an in-house counsel working with their marketing team and business team to develop a playbook on compliance, for example, or a law firm working with their external clients to create a new tech solution, for example. And it's when you come up with that prototype, you then bring on your users again to test and validate. And sometimes this can actually seem quite uncomfortable for lawyers because naturally we're conditioned to mitigate risk and to perhaps not put ourselves in a position where we would be getting negative feedback. But we need to start rewiring the way we think of feedback and validation and co-innovation and realize that by working together, we actually then can create better solutions because we'll be ensuring that whatever we create is actually going to fit the needs and wants of the people we're creating it for. And then finally, implementation. So these are just some tools. For example, we spoke about what is design. There are also design methodologies, and user personas are a key tool to figuring out what is it that our target audience may be wanting from us in regards to a certain situation or challenge. But just to keep this a little bit short today, I'm going to run through some use cases. And these are just a few cases that I've worked on or then some colleagues in the field have also worked on. And I really apologize for this sun. I'm just going to move a little bit this way. So quite rare to have sunshine in Finland, but it seems it's come through my window this afternoon. All right. So one law firm that I've been working with and has been really embracing legal design is Linklaters. Their UK office has really taken on this approach of integrating legal design knowledge and building that foundation amongst their legal professionals, as well as working with the business teams. So this is one example that I can share, which related to a pre-closing memorandum. So essentially, Linklaters decided they wanted to create a better way to help their clients communicate obligations effectively to the people when they're closing a deal. And we went through these steps of workshops with the clients to figure out, like what sort of information is most crucial, because as we know, when we create legal memos, that's really important, from a lawyer to lawyer perspective. But if you're then applying it to the business, what do the people in the business need to know? What's important to them? And what order is logical for them? And at first, our first prototype was thinking, okay, let's make a quick one-pager that people could print off and keep handy. But then we went into a user workshop to validate our first prototype. And interestingly, the client said, well, actually, we do everything on our phones or mobiles. This should be a digital solution. And on top of that, many of us don't have offices. So we work remotely or we hot desk. So it doesn't make sense for us to have to print things off and stick them up. And so from there, we reworked the solution again. And what we came up with was a mobile optimized digital guide on pre-closing obligations. And this has been really well received from the client's perspective, because it's not only safe legal advice that's sound, but it also fits into the way the clients do their work. Do you understand? Legal design is kind of about providing the core legal advice, but in a way that fits into the business lives of your user. Let's take a look at the Arbitration Institute here in Finland. That was a really fun project that we worked on. Essentially, the head of the Arbitration Institute in Finland, she wanted to find a way to better communicate the arbitration rules. It was currently just an online PDF or then a hard copy book of all the rules and laws there. Through a series of workshops with lawyers, because of course lawyers are representing their clients in arbitration cases, as well as business people, because they are the core users of the arbitration services here in Finland. We managed to create this really cool interactive online tool. And I encourage you all to go check it out. It's on the Arbitration Institute of Finland's website. And basically, it's a timeline of the different stages in the arbitration process. There are little icons which are indicating to a business person when they need to file documents, when they need to be present. But then for the lawyer, if you click on certain boxes, it's going to take you directly to specific parts of the legislation to help the lawyer also do their work more effectively. So this is thinking creatively about how can we take legislation and make it more accessible, but not just for everyday people, but for legal professionals as well. This was an example done by Airbus and another legal design expert in the field called Astrid Kohlmeier. She's based in Germany. And they were looking at redesigning their NDAs. And what I love about this visualization that Astrid provides is you can really see how, the journey from going from a legal document to an end result. It's not just a matter of adding some visuals or overnight people thinking, okay, let's say this word instead of that word. It's really a process of working collaboratively with people, using technology, using graphic design, information design, then design thinking as a process to create different versions. So it's quite a profound difference going from that image on the left as the first NDA to this final NDA, which they have also then, I believe, coded into their legal automation systems there so that it can be easily completed. And then finally, I actually saw this, it was only a couple of weeks ago. It's by a Dutch law firm and some designers, along with Tony's Chocolonely. And they just created a very vibrant employment agreement. They've called it a ticket of trust, and it's not only cohesive with Tony Chocolonely's brand, but it's a legal document that's fun to read. And I know that if I am a future employee, getting this feels a lot more relatable and exciting. And it also, I guess, perhaps demonstrates the values at Tony Chocolonely. So these are just 4 examples that I wanted to share with you today about how legal design is being used in all different realms. And I think we can end there and head off to the panel session. Ricardo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Meera. So now I'd like to ask some questions and also give you some topics for discussion. And I would start off with something that Meera already hinted at in our presentation, and ask perhaps Alexandre if you could sort out this terminology issue on the different types of definitions: legal design, design thinking for law, visual law. Are we talking about the same things? Probably not, as Meera has said, but could you just help us clear out the differences, please?
So legal design is, as we said, a methodology to solve problems. So always we start with the observation of the problem, and of course to do that we have to organize the data. It could be with interviews, surveys, or using, as we told, artificial intelligence to organize big data, for an example. So we start using that, and then we can do this to build the solution, looking all this journey, all the human-centric necessities and all of that. So so we work between this observation to the last step, which is the kind of information and how can we deliver the information in a better way for the exactly public. So so legal design is not just design thinking. It's much more than that. It's a concept, it's a technique. So legal design is one of the techniques, and you can use it in some kind of projects, not in everyone. You can use Agile, you can use Canvas, you have a lot of methodologies, but this is not design. Design is much bigger than that. So visual law for us is one of the sub-area of the legal design in the last phase of this project. So it's how to deliver the information. So we can do all of that not using any one of these techniques, such as design thinking. We can just use that in our daily work, but following these steps. So we have a lot of ways to do that, but we have to figure out this. We have to follow these steps and look at the journey, look at the people, look at who you're working for. Is a lawyer, is the final client of your client. So that's what we are really doing. So I think Meera can tell us
and if I could just build on that, Alex, I think the way to think about legal design is, if we think about it as using design in law. So what is design? When you say what is law just corporate law? No, we have many different practice areas, right? IP law, privacy law, maritime law, criminal law, family law, etc. So design, to say legal design is just design thinking, would be missing out on all these other parts of design. So design as an innovation process is design thinking. Design as a mindset is human-centered design. Then you have these like tangible design skills: graphic design, information design, this product design if you're creating a solution. You have the ones that you can't see, like organization design, how things flow within an environment, process design, you know. So legal design is applying all of these different forms of design in law to kind of solve our problems. And as Alex, you said, you may not use all of these different areas of design all the time. Sometimes it may just be design thinking because you're trying to think of new solutions, etc. But other times, if you're focusing more on a contract, then it's going to be the graphic design and the information design, the visual aspects of it. I hope that answers your question.
And Ricardo, just to complement, now we are working on a design of new areas for law firms in Brazil, such as data privacy. So we are building with this law office, which is the headcount, what's the deliverable, what kind of technology that you're going to use, how much will cost the service. So we are building with the lawyers all the area all the design of the services and in a end-to-end point of view.
Okay, thank you. So, and Meera, how would you say that it's possible to go about starting off a project on legal design? What would be the first steps that one has to take to start off a project on legal design?
Yeah, great question. And I think the first step would, of course, be to take some time to just educate yourself a little bit so you understand, where has legal design been used? Look at some case studies, some great materials. Alex has published some things. Myself and Astrid Kohlmeier will have a book coming out late next year. Unfortunately, it's still a little while away, but there are resources online. But then I would also say, it's really beneficial just getting a bit of training, or first of all, before, I guess, building the foundation before you can, build on from there. And sometimes it may seem, I don't know, I think legal professionals don't always consult external experts or consultants. It's not necessarily within our culture, but it is very much so a thing that's done in business, right? And so I think getting familiar and comfortable with this idea of, okay, let's bring in an external expert. Maybe they'll run like 1 or 2 education sessions. And then our team has this solid foundation. From there, we can start building on things ourselves. Identifying a small project. Start small and then go big, Don't try and rework a whole huge process. Maybe start with something small, do that successfully, and then that can be used as, I guess, a pilot case to show the value that project brought to the business. And make sure you measure the impact. Did people's attitudes change after we did this project? Have we seen an uptake in people being more proactive and experimental? Then from the client's point of view, what did the client say? Did it help them with their business? Or if it's a contract, did we manage to reduce negotiation time or sign the deal more quickly? Those sort of things. So do a small pilot project and measure the value. And I think from there, you can really start scaling.
Yeah, that would be my next question. You already started answering, which how can we measure this, the efficacy, the benefits of this type of projects, and on which projects do you seem to see more improvement or more benefits resulting from applying legal design, or is it across the whole spectrum of types of projects for both of you?
Yeah. Alex, do you want to start?
No, please, you're okay. The star. I'm here every year, so you're the star today.
No. It's very kind of you. So I would say that the projects relating to where you can see a tangible outcome tend to be the ones that gain the most traction quickly. So I guess that's because people can really see and measure the impact straight away. So if we are talking about, say, a contract, then we can see, maybe reading time was reduced, preparation time was reduced, signing time was reduced. And then from there, can you measure, what was the relationship and feedback like from the client side, measuring these type of things. And they also don't take as long to measure the value. Maybe 6 months after the project, you can start measuring. But if we then start going with, okay, now we actually want to create a culture of legal design within the law firm, that's a little bit more difficult to measure. And that's why it's also a bit harder to get that investment, because you're only going to see things like a mindset shift, this new ways of working, maybe attracting of new clients because you've started taking these steps, whether that be internal, if you're in-house or external. They take a bit longer to measure. So that would be my answer to you there. When we're talking about bigger systems and process changes, we have to be a bit more patient. It's going to take at least 6 to 12 months to be able to measure the value there. Okay. Alex, yes, please.
Yes, that's it. And you have to have a picture from the first day, because if you don't do that, you cannot measure these results after this 12 months. So from here, as I showed to you, this hyper automation service. So I told you we have 15 minutes for manual registration. Now we have 15 seconds. So we have 98% of accuracy, and we had 74%, and increased the relative numbers of rejection in 5 times. So it's a result that we can measure, and in those visual law projects, we have a very nice project with a healthcare big company here in Brazil. So they had this privacy notice for the clients to share their exams for the medical research or drug discovery research. So of course they had 30 pages in Word and in legal language, you know, and nobody, and the rates for that really signed that is very low. So we did a video because they are not lawyers, they're just doing an exam, you know. So we did a video. So how this healthcare company is really using anonymizing and of course having all the care of this data, and the rates to increase a lot, you know. So this is this is real results because it's being more effective. And there's another project for a big real estate company here that digitalize all their contracts, digital contract. You buy your house from this digital environment with this using this digital environment, since the photo of the apartment, for example, the text, and how do you sign that, and this contract with a very clear language, intuitive language, with videos about the articles, the clause that we saw that we have a lot of judicial problems or judicial discussion about that specific points, you know. So this kind of project, and now Guilherme Freitas, which is the general in-house counsel, said after we put this project on, we didn't have any lawsuit about this contract. So this is real results, you know. So now we're starting to have this result. As Meera told, we have to think big and start small. Start with one project, one kind of contract, and then you can measure and choose the right sponsors, the right area into the law firms, because if you've had, everybody now is going to use legal design and visual contracts, it's not going to work. But if you choose the right sponsors, you can start, and then the neighbor will see you as, it's nice, you have results, I want to use that too. So it's cultural, and it had to grow up from through this process. You know?
Yeah, and just very quickly building on that, one project that I've been working on right now is with a very large energy company and their in-house counsel. You know, this project that we're working on there is like a playbook to help their business and marketing and sales teams understand certain deal terms. And that's a collaborative project between the legal team, but also their marketing team, as well as their business development and sales team, and external lawyers and me. You know, so this is just how the problems and problems are becoming so much more complex these days. We have to be working together and getting comfortable with that too, understanding the value you bring, but also understanding the value that others bring to cohesively creating an effective solution. And then on the measuring side, it's going to take some months. They've said this is a pilot project, and then going to measure over the course of 6 to 12 months what the results are like.
So one last topic I would like to discuss with you both would be something about the transparency paradox and the difficulties in finding the right equilibrium between what you need to explain and what lawyers tend to make very lengthy documents to try and justify and sort out all of the liabilities, and also the aim that legal design seems to have to make it more understandable, more readable, more approachable by the end user. How do you see that, and what's the difficulties in these projects to find that equilibrium? Go ahead.
Please, Meera.
Okay. It's difficult. There are certain agreements that are easier than others. For example, I showed you that Tony's Chocolonely employment agreement. Employment agreements are quite simple to make more user-friendly, accessible, and balance that business language or easy to understand language with the legal considerations. But as we get more and more complex, at this moment, I guess there are two solutions. It takes a long time to rework a larger agreement because we're also working with precedents that have been created over years and years, and we know they're watertight. And part of being a lawyer is ensuring that whatever advice you give is watertight. So there's that hesitation to play around with that. So a kind of healthy middle ground that I advocate for initially is kind of creating like a guide to the contract when the contracts get thick and heavy, so that the people from a business side of things, say if you need to be providing, as an in-house counsel, providing things to the board and the CEO, you can say like, well, this is the, work with your law firm and some legal designers and say, all right, we've got the contract, and then we've created this like quick guide to the contract. So you can see like from a business perspective, what the key terms are, key obligations, etc. But then of course you can refer back to the big meaty precedent. I think that's a really healthy and easy middle ground before tackling kind of reworking these large precedent documents. Alex?
So that's why we're telling this is not plug and play. It's hard work,
Yeah.
And it's much more different about replace lawyers with innovation, and it's really different from this side for who really works with that. So it works better with at the same table the in-house lawyers, the strategic law firms, the consultancy, the consumers, and I have the opportunity to be part of a round table organized by Facebook just 15 or 20 days ago, and they have this paper about this transparency paradox, and they trying to understand which is the better to communicate. So they are building this all different screens and all different strategies for you to choose which kind of data do you allow they to use, and so they are doing this round table, and this paradox is just like, if you don't have text, you're going to be a problem with the regulators. If you have a lot of text, nobody will read that. So which is the balance? So we have to prototype. We have to do this A/B text. It works, and what we discussed that is there's not a magic way to do that. You have to understand the difference between each kind of people, and somebody needs and like more tests, other ones like more visual communication. So how can we understand this difference and the different kind of person and people, and how can we build these different strategies for different stakeholders? So that's what we're learning, and that's why we have a lot to do together and building all this ecosystem and these new fields and this different way to work. So it's not a different law sector. It's just a different way to work, but law still the law, and all the content inside of what all we are doing is law.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your participation. We already ran out of time, so now I will have to close the session, and I hope the event has provided you all with new insights on this important topic. This was only the second of 4 days of our event dedicated to law and tech, and I would like to invite you to join us for the other Lisbon Law and Tech sessions hosted by the Knowledge Institute of Abreu Advogados, covering topics such as global trends and regulation and artificial intelligence and legal engineering. Feel free to send us comments and questions through LinkedIn or by email that you can find on our website on the web. Thank you very much.
Ricardo,
Thank you very much.
Meera.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.